Well, hold on now. Oh, here we go. Hey, everybody. Madalyn Sklar here. Social ROI after chat. Oh my gosh, what a great chat we just had. Mitch Jackson was our guest, and what an amazing guy. We had a really great conversation talking about newsjacking. Does anybody here know what newsjacking is? Have you guys heard about this? It is really interesting. We are going to try to get Mitch here live with us and have a nice little interview style right here. So we're gonna wait for him to get here. In the meantime, I'm gonna talk a little bit about this conversation we were having, newsjacking. And newsjacking is very interesting. Let's see if I can get, I think it looks like Mitch is here, trying to get him invited in. And we're going to have a fun discussion. We're actually going to do what I call the going beyond the 140 characters of this. Yeah, Mitch is showing that you're here, but it's not showing that I can invite you in. And I'm not sure why. I've done these plenty of time. And by the way, I'm having to do this on my phone. Usually I do these after chats on my computer, but I'm having some internet difficulties, so I'm actually doing it from my phone today. But it is not showing that I can add anyone in, and I don't know why. This is bizarre. So just bear with me for a moment, and so I can try to figure out what is the issue. I'm not sure why it's not letting me do this. I apologize. You know, it's always something with the internet, it seems like. Lots of interesting issues here. Yeah, let me try, okay, let me try that. Let's see if this works. This might work. Here we go. There you are.
Oh, I knew it was going to work.
It worked. Yes, thank you. Thank you for bearing with me.
Oh,
wow, what a chat.
That was so much fun. Thanks for having me on your Twitter chat. I really enjoyed it. A lot of information, though. A lot of information in 100 characters.
Yeah, a lot of information. But you know what was so great, Mitch, is that you were sharing something that most of us that participate on the chat didn't really know much about. So the floor was really yours. Like we were all like sitting there in anticipation of you explaining newsjacking. Can you tell everybody, especially for those that missed the Twitter chat and they're watching this, tell us a little bit about newsjacking. What exactly is it?
So it's a way of interjecting your commentary, your opinions into a breaking news story, and doing so in a way where you're adding value to the audience, where reporters will be able to reach out to you and take your thoughts, add it to the second paragraph, the second talking point to a breaking news story that makes it different for that reporter than everybody else. And by the way, I've got some friends that are joining me, and if you guys were not on the Twitter chat, it's #social ROI. Is that correct, Madalyn?
That's correct.
So you guys can go back to the Twitter chat, do a search on that hashtag, and you'll see links to different articles and posts where we've jumped on breaking news stories, you know, from the beach, from the courthouse, from here at the office, and, you know, newsjack these stories just to add a different twist, a different perspective to a breaking story. And that's the secret, is just, you know, add value. Don't just do it to do it. You want to do it to add value and make the reporter's life easier.
Well, it's the whole point, is to add value, not do it just to do it. I want to show my screen here. You showed this early on in the chat. I thought this was interesting, the life of a news story. Can you talk a little bit about this?
So that's a graphic that David Merriman Scott shared with me. It's his graphic. He allowed me to use it in a presentation, and so I wanted it to share it with your audience. But what the graph shows is that to be effective at newsjacking, you want to jump on a breaking news story right away. You want to immediately, using your mobile device, because that's what we have with us all the time, you know, share your thoughts, whether it's a live stream, a post, whatever it might be. And the graph really does emphasize how important it is to get in on the story early. That's why if you have a list of reporters that you've developed rapport with. And when I say reporters, I don't mean radio or television. I mean anybody in media that you've connected with who want you to keep them updated when you newsjack a story. You know, I can instantly use MailChimp to reach 200 plus reporters within the first 5 minutes. Usually 5 or 10 of them want to reach back to us for commentary on that breaking story. Now, this is something we've been doing for 10 to 15 years, so it's taken a long time to build up that unique list, right? It didn't just happen overnight. But there's something that's happened recently where David and I talked about this, and while we've always been focusing on how important it is to jump on these stories quickly, newsjacking, if done correctly, through a blog post, through a video show, whatever it might be, it has a long-term rate of return type of effect to it. And the example I gave in our Twitter chat was about 1.5 years ago, I newsjacked a new law in California that had to do with sextortion and revenge porn and things like this. And, you know, 1.5 years later, 2 months ago, a USA reporter was looking for someone in California to comment on a story that she was writing. And they found us because of that old blog post. Placed a phone call to the office. We hit it off right away. And then USA ran with that story. And that story, actually, because of the people involved in the story, was also going to be on TMZ later on that evening, but they ended up going a different direction at the last minute. So even when you newsjack something correctly 3, 4, 5 years ago, it actually could be relevant to something that's happening today.
That is so interesting. So how do we find these stories and this stuff? Where do we go looking for it?
So what you do is you stay connected with people like Chris Strub, who just joined us. He's a buddy of mine. And you stay connected with people that are making, hey, Chris, you stay connected with people that are making things happen. But for me, I mean, it's old school. When I'm driving to the office to and from work, I've got the radio on, I'm listening to the news, I'm up to speed on what's happening. And what you'll find is when you start newsjacking, you start developing a mindset. You start absorbing the news in a way where, geez, is this something that I could add value to and share with my audience? And we have Twitter lists set up with major news bureaus, so I can instantly check my Twitter list to see what breaking news is out there. We have different resources on Feedly. Somebody, hey, Mo, it's good to see you. Mo Lilienthal is doing a great job at newsjacking as a lawyer. And we'll look at Feedly and we'll try to stay up to speed on breaking commentary and breaking news with with virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, things that have nothing to do with the law, but everything to do with litigation and court cases. And so I kind of pay attention to what's happening in my world, the world that interests me, by the way, okay, which might not interest you. It might not interest somebody who was on our Twitter chat, but I like to newsjack topics that are of interest to me. They're not necessarily legal. They revolve around when Ryan Lochte had a challenge with down in Rio during the Olympics with truthfully responding to a police officer's questions. I newsjacked that story on how important it is in life to tell the truth. And our reputation depends on it. So it was more of a fatherly type of newsjacking post, okay, as opposed to a lawyer one. But it was the type of post where people could relate to it and they start to understand who you are as a human being. You can show your human side, right? And you're showing your human side, you start connecting with other people, and then it just takes off. The Bill Cosby case, when he was accused of putting, you know, drugs in the drinks of women. Well, I'm a father, and my daughter had just left and gone to UCLA. So she's out of the house, and I was really worried about that type of stuff happening. And so when that news story broke, I immediately jumped on it and shared a story about in California, what are the rights of remedies and remedies of somebody who were exposed or who's exposed to that type of narcotic placed in the drink? Is there a civil remedy? Is there a criminal remedy? And so I wrote a blog post about that really took off. And after writing the blog post, I then went online like you did right here, and I live streamed about that blog post and I repurposed it on the other platforms. So that was the key, was repurposing the content over and over on the different platforms.
That's awesome. Repurposing, I'm a huge fan of. I think that's great. Okay, so where can I learn more about this? You have stuff you mentioned during the chat. Just go to your website, you said, and we can get more information. Is that the best place to go? Where else can we learn more?
Absolutely. So, my go-to guy, the expert in newsjacking, it's not me. I'm a trial lawyer. That's what I do. But my go-to expert, and is a friend of mine, is David Merriman Scott. And if you go to newmarketingmastery.com, it's a course that David's put together with Tony Robbins. And it's an excellent course, and there's a module in that course about newsjacking. David also has a book out at newsjacking.com that I would suggest everybody read before trying to newsjack. In other words, learn how to handle this two-edged sword before you go out and start swinging it into the wind. Okay, it's just something you want to do because it's such a powerful tool. If you use it the right way, it's for good. If you use it the wrong way, you're going to stab yourself in the foot, and I don't want to see that happen to anybody.
Yeah, this has been so great, Mitch. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes and sharing all this information. So how can we best get in touch with you? Where's the best place?
The easiest place to get in touch with me is probably my blog, streaming.lawyer. It's not my law firm site. It's where I share a lot of social media and live streaming information. And if anyone would like to connect with me on the social media platforms, if you go to mitch.social, most of the primary and main platforms are there. So Madalyn, thanks for having me on your Twitter chat. And thanks for having me on this post Twitter chat show. And I'm always here for you. I'm looking forward to next week with Chocolate Johnny. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Thanks, Mitch. We really appreciate your time. Always great to see you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. That's it for our really super brief, awesome live stream. And hey, we're going to just keep on bringing amazing guests. We've got a whole lineup this month in October. I cannot wait to bring on these guests. So yeah, next week, John Capos, otherwise known as Chocolate Johnny, is going to be with us, which will be amazing. So we'll see you out on Twitter. And remember, new time. This is our new time now, 5 o'clock Eastern. Okay, so mark that in your calendar. Social ROI is every Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern. I'll see you next week. See ya. Bye.